mindset and envision your future. Take the lead is in your walls.
Take the lead is in your walls.
This platform serves as a space for engagement designed to equip young people to become effective leaders. They are actively contributing, creatively engaged, and determined in various fields. And now, this is Take the Lead.
Hello to you, West Africa, yeah, the world. We are here again to welcome you to another edition of your youth exchange program, Take the Lead, here on West Africa, Democracy Radio. We are broadcasting from Dakar, Senegal. It's a pleasure to once again have you joining us on today's edition. And this is the 19th episode of our youth program right here on WADR. My name is Augustine Colley, and I urge you to keep following us. Today's topic is how should young people combat or resist negative influences? And there are more to talk about this topic, as we have amazing young people as our guests, both online and in studio, who will be joining us as we go along to explain more about what they think about negative influences and how should young people combat negative influences. So please join us on 94.9 FM. We are also streaming live on YouTube at WADR News, on Facebook, WADR English Service. You can also get us worldwide at wadr.org and listen to us at anywhere, anytime. As a reminder, we will be reading your comments, you, our online followers, because we also respect you and your opinions. First, the ancient Greek philosopher Aristotle once said, "Give me a child until he is 7, and I will show you the man." So what did he mean? And was he actually right? Firstly, for the modern day, we need to adjust the quote to something like this: "Give me a child until they are 7, and I will show you the adult." This famous quotation suggests that a person's character and future development are heavily influenced by their upbringing and experiences during the formative years of their early childhood. However, there could be more other factors responsible for either positive or negative influences of young people. And those are some of the reasons we are here to talk about today.
Take the Lead is back in 2025 with a brand new format. Yes, your youth exchange space will now be broadcast live every Friday at 4:05 p.m. Universal Time. And that's not all. Dear internet users and WADR subscribers, you have the opportunity to experience the show live and direct on our online platforms, on Facebook at WADR English Service and on YouTube at WADR. Take the Lead every Friday from 4:05 p.m. Universal Time and rebroadcast same day at 1 a.m. Universal Time. Also on every Tuesday, your youth program will be rebroadcast at 7:15 a.m. and 4:05 p.m. GMT. Take the lead and champion the discourse for the betterment of young people.
And of course, that's the charge. You have to take the lead in championing the discourse for the betterment of young people. Like I said, there are amazing young people with us today to discuss this wonderful topic. And they include Fatou Jamai Yassin File, a young Senegalese and master's student in energy and sustainability. Fatou is also an SDGs and youth leadership advocate. It's a pleasure to have you in studio with me today. Fatou, how are you doing?
The pleasure is mine. I'm doing great, Augustine and the radio. It is a pleasure to join you today to discuss about this interesting topic, which is about negative influences that usually young people are driven to, and it will be a good moment to spend with you.
Great, great. This is the first time in our studio. I would like you to tell us how do you feel being in our studios today?
I feel kind of great. Like, it is my first time on a live radio broadcast, but it is a huge pleasure to be here to discuss this topic among these other people.
Okay, wonderful. Next is Ibrahim Marvel Kamara. Ibrahim is a Young African Leaders Initiative Yali Fellow and the founder of the Advocacy for Women and Youth Empowerment in Sierra Leone. Ibrahim, how are you doing? And welcome to the program.
Thank you so much. I am very much excited to be part of this program. I am doing great, even though it is sunny here in Sierra Leone, but I am doing fine.
You say
I'm glad to be part of this wonderful program.
Okay, great. We will get more from you about the atmosphere in Sierra Leone, especially how it affects the young people. But we also have Charles Favor Elsa, a young environmental engineer from Liberia. He is the head of the environmental department at a leading waste management company in Senegal, known as Dr. Set Senegal. How are you doing, Charles? And welcome to the Youthful Platform.
All right, thank you so much. I'm doing so much good. It's actually a pleasure of being a part of this all-important discussion that is combating negative influences. It's actually a pleasure. I'm so much excited being a part of it.
Great. And not forgetting you, our online followers, whose comments we will be reading out as we go along the show. So as our guests will proffer their statements and recommendations, you can also do the same by just commenting your ideas on our live feed. And trust me, we'll read them out from the YouTube or the live Facebook feed. We'll get them rolling out. So let's now listen to our respected guests, beginning with Fatu, who's in studio with me. We'll firstly look at influence. What do you think influence is?
Exactly. So usually when we think about influence, we usually refer to forces, like external forces that can sway, and usually we think it is generally accepted that young people are more easily affected by external forces, external influences. So those influences can be bad or positive as well, but whether they are positive or bad, they need to be controlled, because we actually need to control what is getting ways to the young people, because they currently the future. So the external influence need to be controlled and need to be positive as well.
Great. Let's hear from you, Ibrahim. Please share with us your thoughts about influence and what do you understand the word to be? Hello, Ibrahim. Are you there? Are you getting us?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, you are live.
All right. So I feel like even though the guests in the studio have done justice, but in addition to that, I know influence can be positive and negative, and it can be driven from factors, especially external factors around you. It can be political, it can be economical, it can be social, it can be legal, technological, or environmental. But it's something that influences your behavior, or it's something that drives you to something.
Okay.
Yeah.
But let me just hold you there, Ibrahim. Do you think influence comes with action, or maybe it's just an expression or so?
Influence, even though I know for sure that mostly it is expression, but then it also comes with action. Okay. Because it also has to do with behavior. So influence has to do with action too.
Okay, great, great. Now we'll hear from you, Chaz, but this time focusing on negative influence. What would you consider as negative influence?
Okay, as a young African professional and youth leader, I have faced choices every day, and some building me up, and others trying to pull me down. That means negative influences are very, very much indeed real, but it is our power to resist and rise above them. That is to say, that brings me down to the definition or responding to your question just asked. I would like to define negative influence as something that could be societal, it could be peer driven, digital, economical, or cultural pressures that lead to destructive habits such as violence, drug abuse, corruption, and you can just name them all. So I believe these are forces that actually act based upon a person's being available to fit in a particular happiness.
Okay. Okay, great, great. Fatu, do you have something to add about negative influences?
I believe an influence can be qualified negatively when it hinders the quality of someone's life or someone else's life through your actions. And I believe that oftentimes young people are subjected to negative influences for various reasons. I believe there are mainly three: out of desperation, out of frustration, or out of ignorance. For example, we can see during the political contexts recently in Senegal, where the young people are out of frustration because they want to overthrow the balance because they don't believe no longer in its justice. So they, in the protest, they can get violent, and they can also be subjected to external influences, like we've seen in the region we are in. We are surrounded by countries that are not necessarily stable. So those outside influence can direct to the path of those young people, but also young people out of desperation. We've seen it with the illegal immigration context as well, out of desperation because they don't no longer believe in a success, in a national success. So they get driven by the stories of those who have succeeded the illegal route to take the boat and at the research of the El Dorado. And also we can see that young people, out of ignorance, they kind of adopt bad habits they think can benefit them, but is actually detrimental to them. And I think influence more often time is more nuanced than it appears. It is not necessarily something that come with a force, but you've been exposed to it so many times that you don't realize, and before you even realize it, you're already in the middle of it.
Great, great. But concerning the aspect of identifying an influence to be negative or positive, how does one identify an influence to be negative? And I will hear from you, Ibrahim. How does one, or maybe from your angle, how have you identified an influence to be negative towards you or maybe a group of people? Ibrahim, are you getting me? Okay, I think it's network. But let's hear from Chaz. Regarding your own experience, have you identified one to be negative, and how did you know it was a negative influence?
Okay, hello?
Hello.
Okay, for me, I believe that for me, identifying negative influences is very, very simple. Let's say, for instance, that a person has a certain hobby or is portraying something that is not actually bringing glory to them, or is not actually being positive, it's not going in the positive direction. So we also want to use this particular medium also to say that as a youth, you got to know who you are and what you stand for. So if you know who you are and what you stand for, meaning you have to set your personal goals. So once you set your personal goals and you are engaged into those things that are not bringing you nearer to your personal goals, automatically you are going off track, and that actually could be negative influences as well. So that is to say, you as an individual, you're having this particular or dream that says, this is what I want to be. I want to be a doctor. I want to be this. I want to be that. But then due to probably peer pressure, and you are not really engaging into those things that should bring you nearer to your dream, but rather drawing you far away from your dream and making you to enter into hobbies that are not proper and are not good for the society. From that particular angle, we can say that's actually a negative influence.
Okay, great. Considering the word peer pressure, one would say negative peer pressure, positive peer pressure. Is really peer pressure a form of negative influence to you, Fatu?
Peer pressure can be a positive influence, can also be a negative influence. For example, just as I've mentioned in the like the illegal immigration, for example, young people get subjected to peer pressure because they are likely they are saying to them, your age mates are succeeding in life, they are getting this, they are getting that, they are no longer in this country, they have traveled the world, still you are here doing nothing. Chasing the same dreams. Why don't you just be like your other age mates? So peer pressure can definitely force someone or drive someone to engage in actions, in negative actions. And also we can see it also in circle like the workforces. For example, peer pressure, women, like the peer pressure they can face with other colleagues because they saying to them, are you here with your own knowledge? Like the wanting to prove something can actually drive them to use the wrong route, to the wrong way to get to where they want to be.
Let's also try to dive into factors responsible for negative influences. And we'll begin with you, Charles. What do you think are the factors, or could be the factors, for young people to be influenced negatively?
Okay, thank you very much. That's a very, 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 very brilliant question. And for me, I categorize it into four main. I categorize it into four. All right. The first we have is the lack of opportunity. As a youth, once a youth doesn't have that particular opportunity, that is, many youth, they actually fall into negative path due to unemployment and hopelessness. That is, if you don't have the opportunity that you need in order to become beneficiary to the society, automatically you are going to be influenced negatively. And the next one is also peer pressure. And like you asked Fatu not just too long, that how she actually defined peer pressure for me in a very short way. For me, I believe that peer pressure is wanting to fit in. Wanting to fit in, that is to say you are not into it, but you want to fit in, and that wanting to fit in, like Fatu just said, it could be in the positive direction or it could be in the negative direction. So the number two factor that I believe that, or root causes, or that I believe that influence actually, that gave how you call it, a negative influence is peer pressure, and next is the media and digital influence. And of course, we've seen that on social media. Normally, social media, I believe, should be a place for learning and so. Currently, if you actually take statistics, beginning 14 years and above, most youth now have access to smartphone, and most of them pass vast majority of their time on social media. And if they are on the social media, and They should
Well,
actually be influenced
Ibrahim,
to
you can
learn, but it
please
is somehow
just a bit. Ibrahim, please watch your background so that we can have clear explanation from Chaz. Chaz, please conclude quickly.
okay. So, that's the third aspect is media and digital
And also,
influences. So,
Chaz,
social
you
media often portrays
yeah,
currently.
Chaz, I think if you're using an earpiece, you can just remove it because you are not coming in clearly. You can just remove the headset and speak directly to the phone, so you'll be much clearer.
Okay, hello.
Yes, this is perfect. This is perfect.
Okay, so as I was saying, the how you call it, the category that I would like to speak about is the media and digital influence. That is, social media often, how you call it, social media often glorifies unhealthy lifestyle, which is not called for our society these days. And
Okay.
the last is weak institutions or family system. The lack of guardians or role models could be one of the key factors to negative influences.
Okay. Thank you. Now, let's focus on your own experience in your communities. And to you, Ibrahim, in Sierra Leone, what have you identified as negative influences, especially among young people there in Sierra Leone? Can we have you, Ibrahim?
All right, thank you. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
I don't know if my network is very bad.
Go ahead.
Okay, so in Sierra Leone, one thing that I consider a negative influence is the use of alcohol and the use of drugs, illegal drugs. Young people in Sierra Leone, they are now seeing it as something very, very common. They use drugs as something like they use it as food. So, and I'm sure many young people in Sierra Leone are using drugs illegally as well as alcohol illegally just because of negative peer pressure or just because of negative influence.
Okay.
And I'm sure the reason behind that is because most of the
Network problem. Network problem. I think you can shift a bit. And we'll get back to you. Let's come to Fatou. Ibrahim, you can shift a bit so that you'll be much clearer. It's network problem. So, Fatou, you are in Senegal and you are Senegalese.
Yeah.
Tell us, what have you observed among your fellow young people? It could be females, it could be males, in terms of negative influences, and what do you think are the factors driving those negative influences?
Absolutely. I just want to add to his point that, for example, here in Senegal, an issue that we face is skin bleaching amongst women. And as just as you said, social media can seems like a really out of reality place where you can see that there are people selling the products on live. They are motivating the woman to buy those products. Okay. So it is not only is it illegal, but also it's worsening the health of those people. They even use lotion for fattening certain body parts, and that usually affect their health. There was even one of the sellers that was imprisoned lately due to those products. So oftentimes we see those women because they've been taught that this is the standard of beauty. You even hear them rating themselves out of 1 of a 10 scale, as if a person is no longer a person but just its body. So we don't have like a kind of body positivity here in Senegal, and it can be very detrimental to those people who are indulging in those practices.
Great. Now let's hear from you, Chaz, before we take a break, or to have an insight of more of what we're talking about from my colleague here at WADR. Let's hear from you back home in your country. What do you consider as negative influences among the young people? And what do you think are the factors driving those negative influences?
During my stay in Liberia, one of those things that I actually observed as negative influence is it was actually being addicted actually to drugs, right? Many youths in Liberia, because they lack, I would say, because they lack the opportunity, they have actually been involved. They lack the opportunity. That is, they are unemployed and they are actually hopeless. So once they lack that particular opportunity, the next thing is they turn to do is to see or copy from their friends, all right? And that is the aspect of drug addiction. They have been addicted to drugs. You see them, they are like on the street. I think in Liberia we got a name for them, which of course is actually something that actually play on me most often when people use that name. That is Soko. You understand? I actually feel very, very bad, and I believe that one of the key factors to this is the lack of opportunity. Because once you are very, very busy, automatically the aspect of wasting time lost its value. So once a youth has that particular opportunity, automatically, I believe that it is going to be a very better one for our society.
Okay, so far what I noticed, it seems that there is commonness from the three countries. The issue of alcoholism and drug addiction among the young people, from what Fatu have said, Ibrahim was saying, and Jazz has also said that. But so far, it has been an interesting interactions, and we are still going through with our guests on this 19th episode of your Youth Exchange program, Take the Lead, in the year 2025. However, let's now get more insights about combating negative influences from WADR's Christopher Aticho.
Another 6 o'clock is here. Wake up and meet the morning dear. Brand new day.
As you know, friends carry a lot of influence during teenage years, and this influence can be positive or negative. Spending time with friends helps teenagers learn how to become an adult, but they are also likely to experiment with inappropriate or unhealthy behaviors together, like vaping or smoking, drinking, doing drugs, delinquency, or violence. Despite knowing that certain behaviors are inappropriate or dangerous, young people may still experience with them for several different reasons. These can include fear of being rejected or judged by others, wanting to feel included, curiosity or ripple effect, believing the particular behavior is the norm, wanting to break the rules, feel grown up, feel strong and important, among others. So, if we want to create a happy, healthy and abundant life, our challenge is navigating a flood of potentially negative influences every day. You certainly can resist them if you actively think about it, but doing so takes a large amount of willpower. However, instead of trying to resist negative influences, it is much easier to make an active choice about not exposing yourself to them. According to the Proto-Kalaga Institute, there are countless ways to resist negative influences, but there are a few that work for young people. 1. Find something good in everything. There is tremendous power in seeing the good in everything. Sometimes, it can be tough to see the good in things, but if you practice pausing before you respond, you'll be able to find something good in any situation, even if it seems really small. Viktor Frankl said it is best in his excellent book titled Man's Searching for Meaning. He said, in every situation, between the situation and the way we respond to it, there is a space. Start training your mind to use that space to think of something good automatically. 2. Establish boundaries with negative people. Though you may attempt to completely cut out negative people from your life, you may be forced to work with a negative person on a project or have a negative person in your family. When that happens, create boundaries so you feel in control around the negative person. Limit your time talking to negative people. Try to keep the conversation light or communicate your boundaries calmly and consistently. Try to maintain these boundaries, but if they are not respected, evaluate your options and take action, even if the negative individual attempts to infringe on them. 3. Strive for excellence. It's hard to get caught up in negative influences if you strive for excellence in everything you do. That means maintaining the highest of standards and doing more than is expected. People who prosper aren't satisfied with doing things the way they've always done them. They are always looking for ways to do them a little better. They continually push their knowledge, skills and performances a little higher up the ladder. And finally, actively design your environment. Your environment plays a significant role in your mindset. If you want to be successful, happy and prosperous, you will have to cut yourself off from influences that will stop you from achieving these goals. Your environment includes your physical surrounding, the people around you, and your community. To feel positive, to ease and creative, ensure your home and office are clean, aesthetically pleasing, and orderly. Also, surround yourself with individuals and a community that believes in the life and future you are trying to create, is supportive of where you are trying to get, has the skills and knowledge that you are trying to learn, spends time doing activities that you are interested in, and is successful in the areas of life that are important to you. Always remember that negative influences can be devastating to living the life you really want. For that reason, be aware of what's happening inside and around you. Freeing your mind from negative influences requires making active decisions about which foods, people, and environments to expose yourself to and which ones to avoid.
What a nice one there coming from WADR's Christopher Aticho on some insights about how to combat negative influences, especially among young people.
Hey people, my name is Mello, Afrobeat singer from Guinea and Conakry. I love listening to the program Take the Lead on West Africa Democracy Radio.
Hello, my name is Fatou Bintou Souké. I'm the CEO of African Start Shop and I love listening to your program Take the Lead on West Africa Democracy Radio.
And so welcome back to Take the Lead, your youth exchange program here on West Africa Democracy Radio, where we discuss all things about young people from within the sub-region and beyond. We are streaming live on YouTube at WADR News, on Facebook, WADR English Service worldwide at WADR.org. Let's now recognize our partner stations across the sub-region that often rebroadcast this youth program. In Nigeria, we have Darling FM. Darling FM is there in Nigeria, and we also have Nenzi FM in Kaduna State. Also in Nigeria, we have Love FM in Abuja. Now to Liberia, we have Alternative Youth Radio in Lofa County. We have the Voice of Liberia in Monrovia. We have DCN Radio in Rivers County. And we have Kwatika Radio in Bong County. And in Sierra Leone, we have the African Young Voices there in Freetown, our partner radio station. We have Radio Baf FM in Mal. We have the Hands of Hope in Freetown, Sierra Leone. We also have Eastern Radio in Kono District as one of our partners. Going down to Ghana, we have Radio Path in the Savannah region. We have Royals FM. We have Numi FM. That's now in the Gambia. We're traveling now to the Gambia. We have Numi FM in the Gambia. We have Radio Veritas there in Banjul. And so far, so good. Those are our radio stations that often, our partner stations that often rebroadcast this program. I see from our live Facebook feed, Gabriel Dolo says, good afternoon. Augustine Cully and the group of panelists, thanks so kindly for the impressive explanations. I'm watching from Monrovia, Liberia. Indeed, it's a pleasure to also have you following, Gabriel. So now let's come back to our guests in studio quickly before we wrap up. Let's ask them a bit about whether or not they will take the blame of being influenced, or you will blame the influencer. To you, Fatu, would you blame yourself for being influenced negatively, or you blame the negative influencer?
So there's actually a lot of factors that get involved in being influenced, and a common factor that get disregarded a lot in African societies is usually mental, the mental health, the psychology, because influence is something that's not necessarily gonna come in a huge vague, but something that's pointing a little bit. So for example, if I have a weak mental strength, I'm likely to get subject to influence. So I do actually get influence even if I'm still educated. Let's mention that being educated just help you not being often subjected to negative influences, but it doesn't spare you from the influence that exists all around the world. Okay. So there is still that factor, the mental capacity, the mental strength, because young people need to be they need to be capacitated not only with opportunities but also with self-development. We should provide them tools so they can identify what is an influence, what is the psychological things at place, so they can identify when they are being subjected to influences, more so when it's negative.
Okay, great. And to you, Ibrahim, how would you resist a negative influencer without resorting into conflict? Maybe you've noticed that is a bad influence and that person is bringing towards you, but then how do you resist that without getting into conflict with the person? Well, I think we can hear from Chaz. Chaz, can you respond, since perhaps the network is giving Ibrahim a tough time?
Okay. Firstly, I believe to resist without being the conflict is to set my goals. All right. That is to say, I should have as every youth, and I'm using this platform to talk to every youth, that as a youth you should have a personal goals. That is, your personal goals should be in line with your principles. And once you have your principles, you try everything possible to live up to your principle and be an influence, meaning a positive influence to those that are around you. That's one. And once you are becoming a positive influence, or you are a positive influence to those that are around you, I believe that instead of them influencing you, you are going to be the one influencing them. I had that particular experience before. I had that particular experience. I was actually around friends and friends that have the ability to influence me, but because I set my personal goals based on my principles, I started becoming an influence, and that is the positive one to them. And based upon that particular aspect of mine, instead of them influencing me, I was the one who actually influenced them and made them to be a positive, to have positive thinking when it comes to living a life that will bring you nearer to your dreams.
Okay, so now as we conclude, what are your recommendations, Chaz? How do you think young people can fight against or resist negative influences?
Okay, so I'm actually going to, my recommendation is going to be centered around 4 key aspects. Firstly, I would like to recommend that family must actually create a listening environment for their children, right? As a youth, family play a vital role. And next is the government. The government should actually invest in youth program and job creativity, because once a government engage into that particular aspect, instead of the youth being vulnerable in society, the youth will now become, a positive minded one, and they will start to impact the society in a positive direction. And that is, the media must promote content that inspires rather than corrupting our youth today. And lastly, the faith-based and community organizations should actually continue in their outreach and mentorship in order to mobilize youth and bring them into a positive dimension so that they will become a positive actor in society rather than the negative one.
Thank you, Chas. It was a pleasure having you on the show today. We hope to have you another time. Can we?
Sure.
All right. Can we hear your recommendations now, Ibrahim, as you take leave of us?
All right, no problem. Thank you so much. So for me, if we are to
Well, I think a network problem.
eliminate, if we are to eliminate negative influence among young people, this is so much challenge. I'm struggling because
Yes. Can you just go ahead now?
okay.
Well, I think it's difficult. It's challenging.
So in order for young people to
Well, we really want to.
drive away negative,
Yes, we really want to get your parting comment, but it's challenging the network. Can you say that again quickly?
yes, it is. I was saying, in order for young people to avoid negative influence, they need to first.
Well, I'm so sorry, Ibrahim. We hope to get you another time. That's when I'm hopeful that everything will be
of
okay.
all, set clear
Uh,
boundaries.
I'm sorry, Ibrahim. It's difficult. We can work that out another time to have a stable network from your end. Thank you so kindly for the efforts you've applied to be here today on the show. Now to you, Fatu. What are your recommendations to your fellow young people? You have said a lot about negative influences. So what do you want them to do in case they are faced with this, including those who are faced with negative influences?
So for this part, I would like to talk about the political negative influences. It is since it is more current in our world. So because when we talk about negative influences, a lot of things that get involved is hate, and hate is not something that's not taught, but it's something we observe and see and try to mimic if it's in your environment with your family. In Senegal, for example, we have some kind of we don't have ethnic conflict, but we're starting when we see outsiders to say no, they need to get their visa before entering their country, when we are all in ECOWAS, for example. So I think there should be a help. Young people should be capacitated by creating center where they can learn about peace. I think we've met on a forum that was talking about peace and humanitarian law. So I think young people need to have those kind of opportunities so they can get to learn, so they can get to be aware of the political state where this world is moving to. So I think that would be a huge effort to help eradicate hate, which often drive young people to get involved in negative political influence.
Okay, it was good having you on the show today. We hope that you will have another time to come and speak to the young people.
The pleasure is mine.
Great. So thank you, Fatu. Thank you, Ibrahim. Thank you, Chaz, for being our guests today. Well, listeners and viewers, this is where we conclude the 19th episode of Take the Lead here in West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting on 94.9 FM, on YouTube at WADR News, on Facebook, WADR English Service. It has been an amazing time having you with us. Please join us next Friday for another live episode of this program. Remember to take the lead in shaping the discourse for the betterment of young people in Africa. My name is Augustine Kali. Have a great day.
We thank you for listening to this program in Nigeria on Darling FM 107.3 Owerri, Southeast. We thank our listeners.